Hello and welcome to another episode of the CUFI Weekly. I am back from Israel, and I wanted to talk about something that I've seen talked about quite a lot. And now that I have some experience of being in the region, I feel I can speak into it a little bit more. And that is these calls for a ceasefire. We're hearing calls for a ceasefire in the fighting, Israel's war against Hamas, from the college campuses to Congress, all over. And it's something which I have to say, no, we shouldn't have a ceasefire. And trust me, I say that with a heavy heart. Nobody wants to see innocent people suffering. Nobody wants to see innocent children in Gaza suffering. Nobody wants to see the people of Israel having to run to bomb shelters regularly. But this is the reality. A ceasefire does not help anyone at this point. Why? Because on October 6th there was a ceasefire. Israel was not at war with Hamas. Nobody in Israel was seeking a war with Hamas. On October 7th, when Hamas came into Israel, murdered, raped, kidnapped people, destroyed homes, did awful atrocities, fired hundreds of rockets prior to that. That is why this war is happening. Israel is fighting Hamas, not the people of Gaza. A ceasefire now helps Hamas. It empowers Hamas. It allows Hamas to stay in power. And with Hamas in power, it means a couple of things. It means the people of Gaza will continue to suffer, continue to be used as giant human shields by this terrorist organization that seeks to destroy Israel and the Jewish people. Hamas's hostility, war, and attempts to murder Israelis and Jews didn't start on October 7th. Right from Hamas's inception, it has been committed to the murder of Israelis and Jews. It has murdered hundreds, if not thousands, of Israelis in terror attacks, suicide bombings, rocket attacks, other sort of shooting and stabbing attacks. Is this who you want next to Israel? Is this the neighbor that you want for Israel next to them? For another October 7th to happen? And two, is this who you want ruling over the Palestinian people? The group that seized power in Gaza, murdered their opponents, is this what you want? The group that suppress human rights and attack and arrest anyone who speaks out against their rule in Gaza? It is very easy to sit in the West while you are not directly impacted by this conflict to make pronouncements to say that this needs to happen and that needs to happen, but this is the reality. Hamas are a terrorist entity who murdered hundreds of people in cold blood. And what is even more disturbing is that they murdered them with joy. They celebrated, they recorded it. All a ceasefire does now is pause the fighting for another date, which means more suffering of Israelis and more suffering of the people of Gaza. It's time that Hamas is done, gone, removed, for the safety of not only Israelis, but also the safety of Palestinians. So it's very easy to say that a ceasefire is needed based on what we're seeing, and I understand that. It is heartbreaking, but a ceasefire just delays this and makes sure that this will be repeated again and again and again. There can be no ceasefire with an evil group like Hamas who use children as terrorists, who use hospitals as places to hide their rockets and weapons. Like, what peace can there possibly be? So a ceasefire simply pauses the fighting to allow Hamas to regroup and to strengthen itself. And we've already seen a pause in this conflict. We had a ceasefire, and who violated it? Hamas. Multiple times. We can all wish well, and we can all approach the Middle East with this idealistic vision. And of course, we do not want people suffering. But sometimes doing things for a short-term benefit, for a short-term easement, bring about long-term consequences that we can't even fathom. This is Kasim Hafeez for the CUFI Weekly. For Zion's sake, do not remain silent.
Thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe so you get a notification every time a new episode hits. And if you want to check out some of our previous episodes, and we've got some really good ones, click on one of the thumbnails and that will take you right there. And finally, if you want to know more about CUFI and the work we do, go to cufi.org to check out all the resources we have available free to you.